Listen to me, listen very closely, because what I'm about to say to you is not just a collection of words. It is a transmission. I know where you are. I know the darkness that surrounds you. You think you want to die. You have reached a point where the burden seems too heavy, where the road seems to end in a cliff. You say to yourself, I cannot go on anymore. You look at death as if it were a friend, a savior, a silence that will finally shut off the screaming noise in your head. But I tell you, you are mistaken. You do not want to die. What you really want is to stop living this false life. There is a difference, a vast difference. You are not tired of life. Life is energy. Life is celebration. Life is a dance. How can one be tired of a dance? You are tired of the pattern you have imposed upon life. You are tired of pretending. You are tired of the masks. Every morning you wake up and you have to put on a face for the world, a face of success, a face of happiness, a face of sanity. But behind that face, there is a screaming child, there is a broken heart. You are tired of chasing things that do not matter, tired of being someone you are not, just to please people who do not even know who they are. You don't want death, you want freedom. The mind says, end it. The mind is very quick to give you suicidal solutions because the mind is a machine. When a machine malfunctions, you switch it off. But you are not a machine, you are a consciousness. The heart says, begin again. Listen to the heart. It is a very small voice, very quiet, buried under layers of conditioning and pain, but it is there. Life is not against you. I repeat this. Life is never against you. The river flows to the ocean. It is not against the fish. It supports the fish. If you fight the current, you get tired. You are exhausted not because the river is strong, but because you are fighting it. Life is simply waiting for you to stop running. It is waiting for you to drop the luggage. And the moment you stop, the moment you say, okay, I surrender, the whole universe begins to move with you. In this talk, I am not going to give you sympathy. Sympathy makes you weak. I will not tell you how to escape your pain with drugs, with entertainment, or with positive thinking. Positive thinking is just forcing the negative into the unconscious. It is a lie. I will show you how to see your pain. I will show you how to turn this very despair into a doorway. You will understand why this despair has come. It is not an accident. It is a surgery. You will understand why life feels meaningless. And you will learn that what you call the end is actually life breaking open. It is the shell breaking so the bird can fly. It is not a breakdown. It is a breakthrough. I will show you how to let death happen. Not the death of your body, but the death of the false within you, so that the real can be born. If this message resonates with you, if you feel a stirring in your soul, do not just listen passively. Subscribe to this channel now. Be part of this energy field. We are creating a space for transformation here, and your presence matters. I understand how it feels when nothing makes sense anymore. When you wake up heavy, as if gravity has doubled. The world looks gray, the food has no taste, the music has no melody. When even breathing feels like an effort, a chore, you try to find a reason to go on, just one reason, but every reason fades. You think of your family, your job, your future, and it all looks like ashes. You may think you have failed. The society will tell you, you are a failure. The psychologists will label you depressed. But I tell you, you have not failed. You are only at a turning point that no one ever taught you to see. Our education is for success, not for understanding. Our education teaches you how to accumulate, not how to let go. So when the moment of letting go comes, you feel lost. Society told you to stay positive, to move on, to keep pretending. Smile, they say. Don't be negative, but I tell you, don't move on. Stop, sit, don't force a smile. If tears are coming, let them be a river. If despair is there, let it be a dark cloud surrounding you. Let your despair speak, because despair is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It has a message for you. Despair comes when the old life is finished, but the new has not yet begun. You are in the gap, you are in the interval. The old toys do not entertain you anymore, but you have not yet found the real treasure. You are standing between worlds, and that space, painful as it is, terrifying as it is sacred. It is the womb. It is dark in the womb, but that is where life grows. In this message, I will take you into the very heart of hopelessness. We will not skirt around the edges. We will dive deep. We will explore what despair really is, why it visits you, and how it can become a doorway to awakening. I will show you that the urge to give up is not against life. It is life itself calling you to surrender. It is life saying, you are carrying too much. Drop it. We will go beyond the surface of pain. The surface is turbulent, like the waves of the ocean. But the root is where silence waits. Together we will uncover how the very energy of your suffering can become meditation, how despair can give birth to awareness, and how from the ashes of meaninglessness a new life can rise, a life that does not need meaning to be beautiful. We will not talk about surviving life. Survival is for animals. Survival is fearful. We will talk about being reborn into it. We will not fix your pain. To fix it is to repress it. We will understand it so deeply that it dissolves. So listen closely. Put aside your distractions. This is not entertainment. This is existential surgery. Because what seems dark right now, what seems like a curse, may turn out to be the first light you have ever truly seen. Here is something most people completely miss. When you reach that moment where you whisper to yourself, I can't go on anymore, you interpret it as a failure. You interpret it as weakness. But in reality, it is a moment of great intelligence. It feels like death is calling you, but it isn't. It is life. It is life itself trying to get your attention, shaking you awake, saying, everything you thought was real is falling away. Now look at what remains. That moment when everything collapses, when the marriage ends, when the business fails, when the health declines, when nothing makes sense anymore, when the walls inside you crumble. That is not the end of life. It is the end of illusion. It is the death of the false, not the death of the real. And I want you to see that clearly, because until you understand this, despair will look like your enemy. You will fight it. You will take pills to suppress it. You will drink alcohol to drown it. But if you fight it, you miss the gift. Despair is your doorway. When you say you want to die, investigate that feeling. Go deeper into it. Is it life you want to end? No. You want to end the misery. You want to end the noise. You want to end the endless effort to be someone, to prove something, to keep pretending that everything is fine. You are exhausted, not because life is cruel. The trees are not exhausted. The birds are not exhausted. Why is man exhausted? Because you have been living a lie for too long. You have been living as an image, not as yourself. You have painted a picture of yourself. I am this, I am that, I am good, I am strong, and you have to carry that picture. It is a heavy frame, and when that image begins to break, it hurts, it terrifies you. It feels like you are losing everything, but you are not losing life. You are losing everything that kept you from life. The collapse is necessary. Just as a snake must shed its old skin to grow, You must let the old life die so that the new can be born. If the snake clings to the old skin, it will die. The old skin becomes a prison. Your past is your old skin. Your identity is your old skin. It is like a caterpillar dissolving into nothingness inside the cocoon. Have you ever meditated on a cocoon? In that darkness, the caterpillar disappears. It literally dissolves. It becomes a soup of cells. It doesn't know it will ever fly. It doesn't know what a butterfly is. It only knows that everything familiar is gone. The eating of leaves is gone. The crawling is gone. The sunlight is gone. If you could speak to that caterpillar at that moment, it would tell you, this is death, this is the end, I am finished. But the truth is that death is the beginning of the butterfly. The pain you feel right now, the meaninglessness, the despair, this is your cocoon. This is the sacred space where everything falls, melts away, so something vast can take form. So don't fear the darkness. Sit in it, trust it. You are not dying, you are transforming. You see, the ego cannot be transformed gently. The ego is very stubborn. It cannot be polished into enlightenment. It must die. And when the ego dies, you feel as though you are dying because for so long you believed you were that ego. You identified with your thoughts. I am my thoughts, you said. You identified with your possessions. I am my house, my car. You identified with your dreams and your disappointments. So when all of that begins to collapse, you think, I am collapsing. But look deeper. Be a scientist of your own interiority. The one who watches the collapse is that one collapsing. The silent witness inside you. That one never collapses. That one was always there. The despair comes only because you are clinging to the dying part instead of watching it die. You are holding the corpse and crying. Let the corpse go. If you can shift from being the one who suffers to being the one who sees, the whole experience changes. This shift is the essence of my teaching. From actor to witness, from sufferer to observer. Before we go deeper into this technique of witnessing, if you want to support this channel and help us spread these seeds of awareness to more people who are suffering, consider clicking the join button. Your support keeps this flame alive. Also, if this specific video has touched you, a super thanks is a beautiful way to complete the circle of energy. There was once a man who came to me, tears in his eyes, saying he had nothing left to live for. He was a wealthy man once, a family man, but in a series of accidents, he lost everything. His wife had left him, his business had failed, his health was crumbling. He sat before me a broken shell. He said, Osho, I feel like I'm already dead. Why should I keep breathing? I looked at him and said, then celebrate, because now, for the first time, you can live. He stared at me in disbelief. He was angry. He thought I was mocking him. Celebrate? He asked. I have lost everything. I said, yes, you have lost all the distractions. You have lost all the chains. You have lost all the excuses. Now you are naked before existence. When you have nothing left to lose, you are free. Fear comes only when you have something to protect. What do you have to protect now? Your reputation, it is gone. Your money, it is gone. Now you can be just a being. Slowly he began to understand. When all your identities are gone, what remains is pure consciousness. The death he feared became the liberation he had been unconsciously seeking all his life. He became one of my happiest sannyasins, not because he got his money back, he didn't, but because he realized he didn't need it to be blissful. Pain is not against life. It is life purifying you. It is life cleaning away what no longer serves your growth. Think of fire. It burns. Yes, but it also transforms wood into light and heat. When your old world burns down, don't run. Sit by the fire. Watch what's being taken. Every flame is burning the lies you once believed about who you are. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are not the noise in your head that keeps repeating that you are not enough. You are the awareness watching all of it pass through. Hopelessness too is sacred. I say to you, bless your hopelessness, because when there is no hope, the future disappears. Hope is a projection. Hope means you are not happy now, but you think you will be happy tomorrow. Hope is a deferment of life. But when you are hopeless, totally hopeless, the tomorrow falls away and you are left face to face with the present. Hope is a beautiful lie. It keeps you chasing what isn't real. It ties you to tomorrow, and tomorrow is a mirage. Have you ever reached tomorrow? Whenever you reach, it is today. Hope keeps you missing the today for a tomorrow that never comes. Only when hope dies can truth be born. Only when you stop escaping into dreams of someday can you meet the only thing that ever was, this moment. So if you feel hopeless, don't run from it. Don't try to manufacture cheap hope. Let it strip you bare, because once everything false is gone, what remains is indestructible. The mind will tell you this is the end. It will whisper there is nothing left, but that nothing is not empty. It is pure space. It is waiting for you to see it. You are standing at the edge of a great revelation. The false self is falling away and the real one has not yet appeared. That in between is what feels unbearable, but it is also the holiest space you will ever know. It is the space where God, existence, truth, whatever word you choose, begins to enter. So what I want you to understand is this: when you feel like dying, don't believe the mind. The mind is a deceiver. You are not dying, you are awakening. The pain is the birth pang of awareness. It is messy, it is terrifying, but it is real. Don't call it the end, call it the beginning of seeing, because when the false you dies, life finally begins to live through you. And once you start to see despair as the beginning, not the end, a new question arises naturally. If life can begin again, what is it that stops it? What is it that keeps us from stepping fully into this newness? Let's look into that next. What I am about to share might seem almost unbelievable at first because the world has trained you to think the opposite. You have been hypnotized. You have been told that your despair comes from circumstances, from the failures, from the loneliness, from what people did or didn't do. You have been taught to look outward for both your suffering and your salvation. If only I had that job. If only she hadn't left me. If only the economy were better. But the truth is, nothing outside of you has the power to make you hopeless. Despair is born from the mind. It is a secretion of the mind. The mind is a factory of meaning. It keeps producing labels, stories, judgments, and expectations. It is constantly weaving a net. When those stories stop working, when those meanings collapse, the mind panics. It feels naked, stripped of control. And because you are identified with it, you think you are falling apart. But you are not the mind. You are the vast sky in which the mind is trembling like a small cloud. The cloud is dark, yes. It is raining, yes. But the sky is untouched by the rain. The sky does not get wet. You are the sky. Let me tell you, life itself is never against you. Life never betrays you. The mind does. The mind promises you things it cannot deliver. It tells you that if you lose this or that, life will be unbearable. It creates conditions for your joy and then breaks them. It whispers, I'll be happy when I get there. But when you get there, it whispers again, not enough, go further. The mind thrives on dissatisfaction. It needs struggle the way fire needs fuel. If you are perfectly content, the mind disappears. Have you noticed? In moments of deep joy or deep awe, like watching a sunset, the mind stops. There is no thought, there is just presence. But the mind does not like that. It wants to survive. So it brings in problems. That's why you can achieve everything you thought you wanted and still feel empty. The emptiness is not a failure. It is simply the moment you realize that the mind's game can't fulfill you. You can keep chasing or you can stop and look. The moment you look, the moment you see that you are not the mind, the despair begins to crack. The mind is a master at making you believe in illusions. It tells you that if you don't have meaning, life isn't worth living. But what it doesn't understand is that meaning is the burden, not the blessing. The ego feeds on meaning. It wants to feel important. I have a purpose, it says. I am special. But existence is free of meaning. It simply is. Vast, unexplainable, beyond purpose. Does a rose ask for the meaning of its fragrance? Does a star ask for the purpose of its light? No. They just overflow. Their existence is their meaning. Only the human mind asks why, and that question becomes its prison. Meaning is the rope that ties you to the past and drags you into the future. When that rope breaks, the mind screams, I'm dying. But you, the witness, are finally free. I know this is hard to grasp because you are so used to thinking. You are addicted to thinking. You think life is a puzzle to be solved. Life is not a puzzle. It is a mystery to be lived. If you're ready to dive deeper into this mystery, to go beyond the mind and its constant chatter, I have explored these themes extensively in my books. They are not just books. They are devices to wake you up. You can check our ebooks in the description. They might just be the mirror you need right now. I once told a friend, a man who had lost everything and was ready to end his life, you are not tired of life. You are tired of thinking about life. And he looked at me stunned because he had never seen the difference. He had been living inside the storm of his thoughts for so long that he forgot the sky existed. When he stopped trying to fix the storm and began watching it, something miraculous happened. The storm didn't disappear instantly, but it no longer owned him. He said, for the first time, I felt peace even in pain. That's what awareness does. It doesn't erase your suffering, it transforms your relationship with it. You begin to see that despair is not in life, it's in thought. It is a thought process. I am bad, this is wrong, it will never change. These are thoughts, not realities. And when thought subsides, despair vanishes on its own like mist in the morning sun. It's important to understand how the mind creates despair. We must dissect the mechanism. First, it compares. It looks at what you don't have and calls you a failure. It looks at your neighbor, your friend, the people on the television and says, look, they are happy, you are miserable. This comparison is poison. You are unique. There is no one like you, and there never will be. Comparison is violence against your own soul. Then it measures your worth by how close you are to its imagined ideal. It has a blueprint. I should be like this. And when you fall short, which you always will because ideals are impossible, it whispers, you're worthless. That voice is not life, it's programming. You were not born with that voice. When you were a child, you simply were. You cried, you laughed, you played. You didn't judge yourself. You didn't say, I am not crying perfectly. You just cried. This critical voice was planted there by parents, teachers, priests, society. They gave you an image of what you should be, and now you punish yourself for not being that image. The mind's despair is simply the distance between who you are and who you think you should be. And that distance is false because the should was never yours. The day you drop the should, the distance disappears, and so does the despair. You settle into yourself, you relax into your own being, and that relaxation is the beginning of joy. The mind has made you believe that depression, that darkness, that sense of meaninglessness is something to fix, something to escape from. Go to the doctor, it says, get a distraction. But in truth, it is an invitation. It's life saying, stop running. When the mind loses all its toys, it sulks like a child crying. Nothing matters anymore. But in that nothingness, in that very silence, the real life begins to whisper. You only hear it when the noise of meaning is gone. So instead of trying to fix the despair, let it be. Let it burn away everything false. When you stop fighting it, you discover that what you call darkness was never darkness at all. It was only the absence of your seeing, of your... Have you ever noticed how thoughts repeat themselves endlessly, like a song stuck on replay? You keep hearing the same tune of regret, of fear, of what could have been, of what might happen. That repetition is what creates the weight inside you. It creates a groove in your brain. But when you start watching those thoughts, just watching, not judging, not saying this is bad, something extraordinary happens. They start losing power. A thought needs your cooperation to survive. If you just watch it, you cut the energy supply. They begin to move slower, softer. And one day, between two thoughts, there is a pause, a gap. And in that pause, you feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. That small pause is the doorway to freedom. It's not something you create. It's already there, waiting for you to notice it. So understand this clearly. Despair is not a problem to be solved. It's a signpost. It's life telling you that your way of living, your way of thinking is no longer working. It is obsolete. It's not a curse, it's a cleansing. But you must stop interpreting it through the mind. The mind will always say, something's wrong with me, or something's wrong with life. Both are lies. Nothing is wrong. You are simply in transition. The cocoon is cracking and the butterfly hasn't yet spread its wings. This in-between is uncomfortable, yes, but it is sacred. When you realize that the mind is the source of despair, a great silence comes. You stop blaming others, you stop blaming yourself, and you start watching. You become a witness instead of a victim. In that witnessing, despair cannot survive because despair needs identification. It needs you to say, this is my sadness. The moment you say, it's just the mind, the spell breaks. You are the watcher on the hill. The mind is the traffic in the valley. Let the traffic move. You don't have to jump in front of the cars. The same mind that told you you are finished now becomes an instrument of awakening. And when that happens, you begin to feel something extraordinary. Beneath the despair, there has always been life, quietly pulsing, patient, untouched. Even when you thought you were ready to die, life was still breathing you. From this realization arises a new understanding, one that will completely change your relationship with darkness, with emptiness. That terrifying void you try to escape from is not your enemy, it's your freedom. Let's move into that now and see what gifts the void is hiding. Here is something that may feel unsettling at first because the mind has spent your whole life trying to avoid it. The mind has been running a marathon away from this one single truth. Emptiness is not something wrong with you. It is not a sickness. It is not a hole to be filled. It is not a punishment from existence because you are bad or lazy or unlovable. Emptiness is the most sacred space you will ever know. It is the womb from which all things are born. Before a seed becomes a flower, it must be buried in the dark soil, in the emptiness of the earth. Before a child is born, it floats in the darkness of the womb. Before a star is born, there is the vast, cold vacuum of space. The problem is not that life becomes empty. The problem is that you were taught to fear that emptiness. You have been conditioned to equate emptiness with death, with failure, with loneliness. Look at your life. From the moment you were a small child, you were told to stay busy. Don't just sit there, do something, parents say. Teachers say, be productive. Society applauds the man who works 18 hours a day and collapses. It calls him successful. It looks at the man who sits under a tree doing nothing, just breathing, just enjoying the shade, and calls him a beggar, a failure, a waste of space. You were told that silence is awkward. Have you noticed? If you are with a friend and suddenly silence falls, you panic. You start talking about the weather, about politics, about nonsense, just to fill the gap. Why? Because you were told that silence is loneliness. You were told that stillness is death. You were told that having nothing means being nothing. So you ran. You ran very fast. You filled every corner of your mind with noise. You filled every hour of your day with movement. You filled every inch of your heart with desires. Desire for money, desire for power, desire for love, desire for God. Even your search for God is just a way to fill the emptiness. You did it because the world taught you that being empty means being worthless. But I tell you, emptiness is not the absence of meaning. It is the presence of truth. Meaning is a man-made concept. Truth is existential. When you come to that point in life where everything falls apart, where the job is lost, the lover is gone, the health is failing, and there is nothing left to hold on to, what you are really facing is this vast emptiness. It opens its mouth like a dragon. It feels cold, it feels dark. And yes, at first it is terrifying. I do not deny the terror. It is terrifying because the ego cannot exist there. The ego lives through identification. The ego is like a parasite. It needs a host. It needs content to feed on. It needs your name. It needs your story. It needs your past traumas. It needs your future goals. I am the one who wants to be rich, or I am the one who suffered so much. Emptiness offers it none of that. In the void, there is no history and no geography. So when you come close to that silence, the ego panics, it screams, it triggers your nervous system, it creates anxiety. It says, you are dying, do something, escape, turn on the television, scroll through the phone, call someone, eat something. It wants you to fill the hole with food, with sex, with entertainment, with noise. But don't listen to it. I beg of you, for once, do not listen to the panic, because the one who can observe that panic, the one who can watch the mind flail and scream, that one is not dying, that one is being born. You must understand that emptiness is not a void that life left behind. It is not that life took away your furniture and left you in an empty room. No. Emptiness is what has always been here, underneath everything you have built. It is the foundation. When you lose your possessions, your relationships, your ambitions, even your will to live, what remains is this clear space. The clouds have parted and the sky is revealed. You are that sky, and that space is your true nature. It was covered by layers of doing, of becoming, of pretending. You were so busy acting the role of the person you think you are that you forgot the consciousness that is watching the play. But once those layers collapse, what remains is just being. You have mistaken being for emptiness because the mind cannot comprehend it. The mind is a mechanism of duality. It only knows how to define things in contrast. It knows happy because it knows sad. It knows full because it knows empty. It knows alive because it knows dead. But being has no opposite. It just is. It is the canvas on which the painting of life appears. The painting changes. Sometimes it is a tragedy, sometimes a comedy, but the canvas remains white, pure, untouched. You are the canvas. There is a story I often tell about Bodhidharma. He was a great mystic who brought Zen to China. He sat facing a wall for 9 years. Can you imagine? 9 years just looking at a wall. People came to him and asked him, "What are you doing?" He didn't answer. "Are you crazy?" He didn't answer. Finally, after 9 years, he turned around. People asked him, "What did you gain? You wasted 9 years." And he laughed. He said, "I gained nothing." But he didn't mean that in despair, he meant it in joy. Nothing was his liberation. He meant, I have achieved no thingness. I have cleared the house. Now there is only space. And in that nothingness, all illusions vanish. In that nothingness, there is no fear, because who is there to be afraid? In that nothingness, there is no death, because who is there to die? When you no longer chase happiness, you begin to taste peace. Happiness is always caused, therefore it is always temporary. Peace is uncaused, therefore it is eternal. When you no longer seek meaning, life itself becomes meaningful, not in a logical way, but in a poetic way. Emptiness is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is trying to show you that everything you thought you needed was just decoration. You were decorating a prison cell and calling it home. Now the walls have fallen and you are frightened of the open sky. What you are seeking has always been inside the space, not outside it. The mind cannot stand this. The mind wants constant occupation. It wants a bone to chew on. That is why people are addicted to work. They are not working because they love the work. They are working because they are afraid of the pause. They are addicted to relationships not because of love, but because they cannot be alone. They are addicted to thinking. Thinking is the greatest addiction of all. You cannot stand to sit alone in a room without something to hold on to. Even now, as you listen to me, your hand might be reaching for something, your mind might be planning the next hour. But that fear is the invitation. That restlessness is the threshold. When you feel that emptiness closing in, don't fill it. This is the greatest discipline. Sit quietly, close your eyes. Feel the hole in your chest. Feel the abyss in your stomach. Let it be there. Don't put a sandwich in it. Don't put a cigarette in it. Don't put a mantra in it. Just let it be. Feel that nothingness expand. It will feel strange, like standing on the edge of an endless cliff and the wind is blowing strong. You will feel the urge to grab a branch, to step back to safety. You will feel the urge to think something, anything to anchor yourself, but resist that temptation. If you can stay just a little longer in that stillness, just a few moments more, something miraculous happens. The quality of the emptiness changes. What felt like emptiness begins to feel like peace. What felt like a hole begins to feel like a whole. You realize it is not cold, it is spacious, it is not lonely, it is alive. Look at the night sky. Do you call it empty? No, you call it vast, infinite, beautiful. The stars shine only because of that vast emptiness between them. If the sky were full of concrete, there would be no stars. The same is true for you. The light of your being can only be seen when you stop filling yourself with clutter. When the furniture of the mind is removed, the grandeur of the soul becomes visible. Emptiness gives contrast to your existence. It's the canvas that allows the art to be visible. Without it, there is only chaos. That's why I say, learn to sit in your emptiness. This is the only meditation. Meditation is not doing something. It is the art of doing nothing. If you are finding value in this understanding, if you feel the truth of these words resonating in your silence, consider becoming a member of this channel. By clicking join, you are not just supporting a channel. You are making a commitment to your own growth. And if you wish to express your gratitude for this specific message, Super Thanks is available. Your energy exchange helps us keep this light burning for others. Now simply sit and breathe. You don't have to breathe in a special way, just watch the breath. In, out, in, out. You'll begin to feel a rhythm there, a quiet pulse, a presence that doesn't depend on anything. It doesn't depend on your bank account. It doesn't depend on your marital status. It is just there. That presence is your true life. The modern world has made you terrified of this state. It's always pushing you to achieve, to improve, to produce. Become better, they say. Optimize yourself. Even spirituality has become another form of doing. People chase enlightenment the way they chase success in the marketplace. They want to get enlightenment. They want to add it to their resume. I have a PhD, I have a Ferrari, and I am enlightened. But real awakening isn't an achievement, it's a disappearance. It's when the achiever dissolves. It's when the ambitious mind gives up. It's when there is nothing left to get, nowhere left to go, no one left to become. When you are totally defeated by life, that is the blessed moment. Because in defeat, the ego surrenders. In victory, the ego strengthens. In that silence, you realize you never needed to fix anything because there was never anything broken. You were only dreaming that you were broken. The emptiness you feared was never against you. It was trying to bring you home. It was the open door, and you were treating it like a wall. Once you start to experience this space consciously, a beautiful thing happens. The anxiety of meaninglessness turns into a sense of mystery. You begin to see that life doesn't need a reason. It is a dance without destination. When you dance, do you aim to arrive somewhere on the dance floor? No, you just move. The joy is in the dancing, not in the finishing. You start to see beauty in things you once ignored. Because your mind is no longer full of noise, your senses become sharp. The sound of the wind in the trees becomes a symphony. The play of light on the floor becomes a painting. The beating of your heart becomes a miracle. You stop asking what is the purpose and instead whisper how beautiful this is. That is how emptiness becomes fullness. When the cup is empty, the tea can be poured. When you are full of yourself, existence cannot pour its blessings into you. When you stop trying to possess life, it pours through you. There was a disciple who once came to me and said, "Master, I feel nothing. My prayers are dry. My meditation is empty. I feel like a desert." His face was pale, his voice trembling as if he had lost everything. I smiled and said, "Good, very good, because now you are everything." He didn't understand at first. He thought I was teasing him, but slowly he began to see that what he had called nothing was the first glimpse of truth. He was entering the desert, yes, but the desert is where the prophets go. The desert is where the silence is absolute. Feeling nothing means you are no longer trapped in emotion. You are no longer swinging like a pendulum between I feel great and I feel terrible. You are coming to the center. You are no longer clinging to the old games of pleasure and pain. It means you are touching the silent core of being. That silence is not a void, it is eternity. So remember this, emptiness is not the end of life. It is the beginning of freedom. When you stop resisting the void, it becomes your home. When you stop fearing silence, it starts to sing. There's a music that can only be heard in absolute silence. The mystics call it the soundless sound. Life doesn't happen in what you fill, it happens in what you allow to be empty. Every time you let go of something, every time you stop clinging, a little more space opens inside you. And that space is where love, peace, and awareness live. Love cannot live in a crowded house. If you are full of ego, full of pride, full of opinions, how can love enter? There is no room. And when you begin to see emptiness this way, when you stop calling it darkness and start calling it depth, a new question arises in your being. If emptiness is so beautiful, so natural, so liberating, then why does the mind fight it so much? Why is the struggle so intense? Why does the ego resist surrender so fiercely, kicking and screaming until the very end? That's what we'll move into next. Understanding the death of resistance and the grace that comes when you finally let go. Here is something that few ever dare to see, and yet it is the very thing that could free them completely. Resistance is the true suffering, not the pain itself. What exhausts you is not life's weight, but the constant struggle to control it. You are trying to hold up the sky with your hands. Of course, your shoulders hurt. The storm doesn't kill the bird. It's the bird's desperate flapping against the wind that breaks its wings. If the bird yields, if it rides the wind, the storm carries it higher than it could ever fly on its own. The moment you stop fighting the wind, you begin to fly with it. In the same way, when you stop resisting, what feels like an astonishment of grace begins to flow through your being. The weight lifts, not because the world has changed, the world is exactly the same, but because you are no longer pushing against it. You have dropped the burden. The mind has been trained to believe that control equals safety. If I worry, I am safe. If I plan every detail, nothing bad will happen. If I am tense, I am prepared. That if you can think enough, plan enough, fight enough, you can make life bend to your will. You think you are the master of the universe, but existence has never belonged to the mind. Life is vast, spontaneous, mysterious. It is wild. It cannot be tamed by your logic. The more you try to control it, the more it slips through your fingers. It is like trying to grab water. Close your fist and the water is gone. Open your hand, cupped gently, and the water stays. Control is the child of fear. You control because you are afraid that without you life will go wrong. But life was going on perfectly well before you were born, and it will go on perfectly well after you die. It manages the stars, the tides, the seasons, the animals. Do you think it cannot manage your small life? Surrender is the song of trust. Surrender doesn't mean giving up on life. It doesn't mean you become a doormat. It doesn't mean you become lethargic. It means giving up the illusion that you can control it. It means relaxing into the river instead of thrashing in it. It means trusting that the river is going to the ocean. Most of your suffering comes from this inner resistance, the endless no that the mind whispers against reality. No, this shouldn't be happening. No, he shouldn't have said that. No, I shouldn't be feeling this. Every no creates a knot in your energy. Every no creates tension in your body. You tighten, you fight, you contract, and that contraction blocks the flow of life. You become like a rock in the stream. Have you ever noticed that when you are deeply sad, your body becomes heavy, rigid, almost stone-like? That is resistance. You are freezing the energy. You are holding against the tide, clenching against the inevitable. But if you let go even for a moment, if you take one conscious breath, if you stop fighting, what is happening? A small shift occurs. A soft light enters. Suddenly the pain becomes bearable, even beautiful. It flows, it becomes fluid, it transforms into tears, into poetry, into depth. That is the grace of surrender. The ego is terrified of surrender because it survives through struggle. The ego is a fighter. It needs an enemy. If there is no enemy, the ego invents one. It will fight with the neighbors, it will fight with the government, it will fight with the weather. If there is no one else, it will fight with itself. It will say, I must improve myself. I am not good enough. It needs problems to stay alive. If all problems are solved, the ego dies. It constantly says, I must fix this, I must improve that, I must control this outcome. And so you live in perpetual tension. You are never here, you are always in the result. The ego is like a man trying to hold a wave in his hand. The harder he squeezes, the faster the water slips away. You cannot possess life. You cannot put life in a box. You can only participate in it. You can dance with it. When you surrender, the wave carries you. When you resist, you drown. But the paradox is beautiful. When you surrender, you don't become passive. You become alive in a way the controller could never be. You become responsive. You are no longer reacting from your past conditioning. You are responding to the present moment. The one who fights life always feels drained. Look at the people around you. Look at the successful people, the politicians, the businessmen. Do they look alive? They look tired. They look haggard. They have achieved everything, but they have lost their energy. The one who trusts life feels renewed by every breath because he is not leaking energy in friction. I remember once telling a story of two men who fell into a raging river. The current was very strong, wild. The first man panicked. He was a man of will, a man of action. He fought, he screamed, he tried to swim upstream. He struggled to grab the rocks. He used all his strength to conquer the river, but the river was vast and he was small. Every movement pulled him deeper under. He exhausted himself fighting a force 1,000,000 times greater than him, and he drowned. The second man surrendered. He realized instantly, I cannot fight this. He relaxed his body. He became limp. He floated on his back. He let the current carry him. He didn't know where he was going, but he trusted the water. The river took him downstream. Yes, there were rocks, but because he was soft, he bounced off them. He didn't break, and eventually the river took him gently, safely to the shore in calm waters. That river is life. The current is always stronger than you, but it's not against you. It knows the way better than you ever could. It is going towards the ocean of consciousness. When you fight it, you suffer, you create hell. Hell is nothing but resistance to what is. Heaven is nothing but acceptance of what is. When you trust it, you are delivered. Letting go is the greatest courage there is, because it asks you to trust what you cannot see. It asks you to drop the map and trust the compass of your heart. The mind says, if I don't control, I'll fall apart. But look at you. You are controlling, and you are falling apart anyway. Your control is not working. It never has. Control only hides the truth of it. It paints over the cracks. The only thing holding you together is fear. You are a bundle of fears tied together with anxiety. You are afraid that if you let go, you will disappear. And yes, in a sense you will. The false you will disappear. The rigid personality will disappear. The one who needs control, who craves approval, who clings to stories of success and failure, that one will die. But what remains after that death is not nothingness, it is freedom. The real you cannot be lost. The real you cannot drown. It is the ocean beneath every wave. Each act of surrender is a small death, and each death reveals a deeper life. When you surrender to the present moment, you allow life to be as it is. You stop arguing with reality. You say, okay, this is what is happening. Pain is happening. Grief is happening. Failure is happening, okay? And in that simple, okay, magic lies. Life, when allowed, reveals its magic. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes sacred. It becomes a fire that burns your impurities. The loss that once felt cruel becomes cleansing. It creates space for the new. Even despair becomes a doorway, because nothing can hurt you once you stop demanding that it be different. The hurt comes from the demand, not the fact. Surrender is not submission. Submission is forced. It makes you a slave. Surrender is voluntary. It makes you a king. It is alignment. It is saying yes to what already is. And in that yes, you find peace. The story of the bamboo always comes to my mind. In the storm, the great oak tree stands rigid. It says, I am strong. I will not bow. And because it is rigid, when the wind becomes too strong, the oak tree breaks, it is uprooted. But the bamboo is hollow, it is empty, it has no ego. When the wind comes, the bamboo bends, it bows down to the earth, it yields to the wind. It says, pass over me. And in that yielding, it survives. When the storm passes, the bamboo springs back up, untouched, dancing in the breeze again. That's how you must be, with the flexibility of trust, not the rigidity of fear. The rigid person breaks, the fluid person flows. When you are soft like water, nothing can harm you. Have you seen how water moves around obstacles? If there is a rock, the water doesn't fight it. It doesn't get a hammer to break the rock. It flows around it. It finds the path of least resistance. It doesn't resist. It doesn't complain. It simply finds another way, another path, another form. That's what surrender is. It's the art of flowing with life instead of against it. But surrender cannot be forced. You cannot wake up tomorrow and say, I will surrender. That I who is deciding to surrender is the ego. That is just another form of control. It's not something you do, it's what happens when you finally get tired of fighting. You reach a point of absolute exhaustion. You realize the futility of your struggle. You reach a point where you say enough, and that enough is sacred. It's the ego's last breath. In that moment, you stop being the doer and you become the watcher. You drop the oars and let the boat move. And life, in its mysterious intelligence, takes over. You realized it was never your burden to carry, never your river to control. You were always being carried, even in your darkest moments when you thought you were abandoned. Life was still there, silently holding you. I want you to really feel this. You are not holding yourself up. The earth is holding you. The air is breathing you. The blood is circulating without your command. You are being lived. Once you realize this, the fear dissolves. If life is living me, then life will take care of me. Now, as we prepare to move into the understanding of rebirth, of what happens after the surrender, take a moment, breathe into your belly, let your shoulders drop. If you are ready to let go of the struggle, if you are ready to stop fighting the river, we will explore the beauty that arises from the ashes. We will see how in the death of the old, the beauty of the new begins to blossom. There is an old story, a very significant story, about a man trapped in a terrible flood. The waters were rising fast, consuming the whole village. The man was very religious, a pious man who prayed 5 times a day. He climbed onto his roof as the water swallowed the first floor of his house. As the water rose, a man came by in a rowboat. The sailor shouted, "Jump in, I can save you." But the pious man refused. He closed his eyes and said, "No, God will save me. I have prayed all my life. He will not abandon me." The boat left. The water rose to his waist. A motorboat came by. The pilot screamed, "Hurry! This is your last chance." Again the man refused with great pride. "Go away. My faith is strong. God will save me." The motorboat sped away. Finally, the water was at his neck. A helicopter appeared overhead, dropping a rope ladder. The pilot shouted through a loudspeaker, "Grab the ladder. The dam has broken." The man pushed the ladder away. "No, God will save me." Minutes later, the water covered him, and he drowned. When he reached heaven, he was furious. He marched up to God and said, "I prayed to you, I worshipped you. Why did you let me drown? Why didn't you save me?" And God looked at him and replied, "I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. Who do you think sent them? But you were too busy with your idea of how I should save you to see how I was saving you." This is how the mind resists grace. This is the human condition. You are drowning in your misery, and life sends you help, a friend, a book, a silence, a moment of laughter, a video like this one. But you refuse it. You say, "No, this is not how I imagined salvation. I want a miracle. I want the sky to open." You keep waiting for miracles while rejecting the ones that are already here. Surrender means recognizing that life is already saving you in 1,000 unseen ways every moment. The breath coming into you right now, did you earn it? Did you pay for it? No, it is a gift. The heart beating, are you pumping it? No, it is happening by itself. So I tell you, let go of your conditions. Stop telling existence how it should treat you. Stop fighting the current. Let life move through you. When you surrender, when you finally stop playing God and let God be God, you become weightless. The heaviness of existence disappears. Even pain becomes luminous because it no longer belongs to you. It becomes just another wave in the ocean. It comes, it washes over you, it goes. You don't hold it. You don't say, "Why me?" You say, "Yes, this too." Surrender is not the end of effort. It is the beginning of effortless being. It is the death of resistance and therefore the birth of peace. And once you have tasted this peace, once you have felt what it means to stop struggling, a new fragrance enters your life, the fragrance of rebirth. You begin to sense that something within you is changing quietly, beautifully. You are no longer who you were yesterday. The continuity is broken. The old personality, the one that was hurt, the one that was ambitious, the one that was jealous, is fading like a dream. You are being born again, not through effort, not through achievement, but through understanding. When you finally allow everything to fall apart, something miraculous happens that no one ever tells you about. Society hides this from you. They tell you that a breakdown is bad. I tell you, a breakdown is the prelude to a breakthrough. Out of the ashes of everything you thought you were, a new kind of life begins to stir quietly, tenderly, like the first light before dawn. It doesn't come with thunder or fireworks. Truth never makes noise. Lies are noisy. Truth is silent. It comes with a stillness so deep that it feels almost holy. You realize slowly that what you called the end was actually a beginning. And what you thought was death was the birth of your real self. You no longer feel the same rush to become somebody. That madness is gone. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to run somewhere because you realize you are already here. Instead, there is a deep calm, as if existence itself is breathing through you. You begin to live not as a person striving, but as life unfolding. That's what I call rebirth. Rebirth is not a miracle that happens after you die physically. Waiting for death to transform you is foolish. If you are a fool in life, you will be a fool in death. Death changes nothing but your address. Rebirth is what happens the moment you stop living through the false. You've been carrying around a corpse. Your past is a corpse. Your identity is a corpse. Your old wounds are corpses. And you have been carrying them on your back, smelling of death, and you have mistaken that dead weight for who you are. But the moment you stop clinging to it, the moment you bury the dead, something light enters you. The idea of my life dies and life itself begins to flow. You start to feel connected again to the trees, the wind, the faces of strangers. The separation between you and the world begins to fade. Before, you were living in the narrow room of your thoughts. It was a dark, windowless room. Now you're standing beneath the open sky of being. The walls have crumbled. You begin to understand what the poets and mystics meant when they said, "The one who dies before death will never die again." In this new way of being, there is an innocence that returns to you. It is a second childhood, but it is different from the first childhood. The first childhood was ignorant. You were innocent because you didn't know better. This second childhood is wise. You know the world, you know the pain, you know the betrayal, and yet you choose innocence. You choose trust. A purity that was buried under years of conditioning and effort rises to the surface. You start to see life with the eyes of a child again. Each moment becomes a discovery, not a duty. Have you watched a child? If he finds a pebble on the beach, he looks at it as if he has found a diamond. He is amazed, he is in awe, but you walk past the whole beach and see nothing. Your eyes are covered with the dust of knowledge. Rebirth washes your eyes. The simplest things begin to move you. The sound of rain on the roof becomes a melody more beautiful than any composed by Mozart. The smell of wet earth, the warmth of sunlight on your face. The mind is no longer calculating. How much will this cost? What will I get from this? Those questions vanish. The heart is no longer afraid. You are no longer chasing the extraordinary. You are falling in love with the ordinary. That's what it means to be reborn, to find the miraculous in the mundane, not to become more, but to become simple again. To be ordinary is the most extraordinary thing in this world because everyone is trying to be special. There is a Japanese art called kintsugi. It is a Zen art. When a precious ceramic bowl breaks, they do not throw it away. They do not try to hide the cracks with invisible glue. No, they repair the broken pottery with veins of gold. They fill the cracks with pure gold. The bowl becomes more precious because it was broken. It has a history, it has a story, it has character. The breakage is not hidden, it is celebrated. The cracks aren't hidden, they are made beautiful. In the same way, the cracks in your soul are not your shame. They are where the light enters. They are your veins of gold. If you enjoy these stories and the wisdom behind them, if you want to understand the alchemy of transforming your cracks into gold, I invite you to explore the ebooks listed in the description. They are guides for this very art of kintsugi for the soul. When you accept your brokenness, when you stop pretending to be perfect, grace pours in. Life doesn't need you to be flawless. It finds plastic flowers boring. It loves the real rose, which has thorns, which wilts, which is fragile. It needs you to be real. The gold of awareness fills the cracks of your being, and you become more beautiful than before. Not in appearance, appearance is superficial, but in depth. You see, the idea of perfection is an invention of the mind. It is a neurotic ideal. It's just another prison. I must be a perfect husband, a perfect mother, a perfect employee. It drives you mad. Rebirth happens when you stop trying to perfect yourself and instead allow yourself to be whole. Wholeness is different from perfection, vastly different. Perfection is about control. It cuts off the parts it doesn't like. It says, anger is bad, cut it off. Sadness is bad, hide it. It leaves you fragmented. Wholeness is about acceptance. Perfection says there must be no flaw. Wholeness says everything belongs. The day belongs, and the night belongs. The flower belongs, and the thorn belongs. The joy belongs, and the sorrow belongs. When you embrace your light and your darkness, your joy and your pain, your past and your future, you stop being divided. The civil war inside you ends. You stop being two and you become one. That oneness is what people call enlightenment. Enlightenment is not becoming a Superman. It is becoming a simple, integrated human being. Every ending in your life has been a preparation for this integration. The relationships that broke, they broke your heart so it could open. The dreams that failed, they failed so you could wake up from the dreaming. The moments when you were brought to your knees, all of them were life-clearing space for the new. You thought they were punishments. The ego always thinks like a victim. Why is God punishing me? But they were blessings in disguise. Because only through loss do you learn to stop clinging. Only when the hands are empty can they receive God. Only through emptiness do you learn what fullness really is. Every death is a doorway. Every collapse is a calling. Life is constantly trying to awaken you through endings, but you've been trained to resist them. You hold on to the dead leaves. You call it tragedy, but I call it transformation. Look at the tree. The tree that sheds its leaves every autumn doesn't mourn. It doesn't cry, "Oh, my beautiful leaves, what will I do without them?" It trusts. It stands naked against the winter sky, silent, waiting. It knows that spring will return. It knows that the new foliage will come only if the old is given to the earth. But we cling to what is dying. We are terrified that it won't come back. We are hoarders of the past. And because of that, we miss the beauty of the seasons within us. You have to trust the seasons of your own soul. There is a winter in you and there is a spring. When something leaves your life, it's not punishment, it's rhythm. It is the breathing of existence, exhalation. You cannot inhale forever, you must exhale. Loss is exhalation. When something ends, it's not loss, it's renewal. Every time you let go of what no longer serves you, you make space for grace to enter. Grace is like air. It needs space to circulate. One of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard is of a Sufi traveler who searched for paradise his entire life. He was a seeker, very intense. He read all the scriptures. He practiced all the disciplines. He went from temple to temple, teacher to teacher, mountain to mountain, begging the heavens to show him the gate to paradise. He wanted to find the map. He wanted the location. Years passed. He became old, frail, tired. His search had yielded nothing but dust on his feet. In his old age, exhausted, he collapsed beneath a tree. He said, "I give up. I am finished. There is no paradise." He surrendered. He dropped the search. And in that silence, as the evening sun touched his face, he suddenly saw it. The birds were singing. The wind was rustling the leaves. The air was cool. Paradise was not a place. It was this moment, simple, still, alive. The gate had always been within him. The searching had taken him away from it. The seeking was the barrier. Rebirth happens when you stop searching for paradise outside, in money, in success, in the perfect partner, and discover that you are already sitting at its gate. You are the gate. And when this understanding deepens, something magical unfolds in you, a byproduct of this realization. Gratitude. But this is not the gratitude you are taught in Sunday school. It is not the gratitude you perform because you think you should. I must say thank you. That is politeness, not gratitude. I am talking about a spontaneous gratitude that rises from your heart like fragrance from a flower. The flower doesn't try to release fragrance. It just happens because the flower has bloomed. You feel grateful for the simplest things, for being able to breathe. Do you know what a miracle it is to breathe? For being able to see colors, for being able to feel the texture of wood, the warmth of tea. You begin to realize that even your pain was a form of grace. This is the ultimate alchemy, when you can look back at your darkest nights and say, thank you. Because without the darkness, you would never have sought the light. Without the thirst, you would never have found the water. Without the despair, you would have remained asleep in your comfort. The despair shook you awake. Gratitude makes every breath sacred, every step a prayer. This is what it means to live as the new. To live without boundaries, without walls, without the constant noise of what's next. The mind is always asking, what next? The being is always saying, this is it. You're no longer trying to rebuild the old house. Let the ruins be ruins. They are beautiful in the moonlight. You're walking freely under the open sky. Each day is a clean slate. You don't carry the hangover of yesterday. You don't carry the grudge of last year. You wash yourself clean every night. Each moment is a fresh beginning. There is no burden of becoming. You don't have to become a saint. You don't have to become a millionaire. You just have to be. Only the joy of being remains. You laugh more easily. Have you noticed how serious people are? They carry the weight of the world, but the reborn person laughs. He sees the cosmic joke. He sees that we are all actors in a great play. You forgive more quickly. Why hold on to poison? Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you. It is dropping the hot coal you are holding to throw at someone else. You love without reason. You don't love because someone is good or rich or beautiful. You love because you are love. Love becomes your nature, not your relationship. You no longer need to fix the world. The world is not broken, it is evolving. You simply shine your light into it. A lamp doesn't try to fix the darkness, it just shines. and the darkness disappears. And as this new life unfolds in you, you will notice something extraordinary. Fear disappears. Why does fear disappear? Because fear only belongs to the one who clings to the past or projects into the future. Fear is always about time. What will happen tomorrow? What if I lose what I have? But when you live as awareness, you live moment to moment. You are timeless. In the now, fear cannot exist. You can only be afraid of the future. You cannot be afraid of the now. In the now, there is only action or acceptance. Death loses its meaning. It loses its sting. Because you've already died once to the false, to the ego, to the idea of my life. You have already visited the graveyard of your identities and come back. What can death take from you now? Nothing. Death can only take what you possess. It can take your body, your money, your name, but it cannot take you. You've already given everything back to existence. You are traveling light. Your bags are empty. What remains is joy, pure, unconditional, unshakable joy. You begin to understand that to live fully is to die continuously. This sounds like a paradox, but life is a paradox. Logic is linear. Life is circular. To live fully means you don't hold on to the breath. You inhale, you exhale. If you hold the breath, you die. To live, you must let the breath go. In the same way, you must let each moment go. Don't take a photograph of it. Don't try to put it in an album. Live it and let it go. Each breath is a small death and a small birth. You inhale life, birth. You exhale the past, death. You are constantly being renewed. You open your eyes and see the miracle in everything. The miracle is not walking on water. The miracle is walking on the green earth, deeply in the present moment. Even pain becomes celebration because you know it too will pass. It is just a cloud. Why cry over a cloud? It is moving, it is changing shape. You are no longer waiting for life to be perfect. You realize that perfect is a dead word. Life is imperfect, and that is its beauty. You are awake to its perfection in the imperfection. This is the joy of being alive, not the excitement of achieving. Excitement is feverish, it makes you tired. I'm talking about the quiet ecstasy, not the thrill of possession. I got it. No. That thrill turns into fear of losing it the next moment. But the quiet ecstasy of knowing you are one with all that is. You are the tree, you are the river, you are the mountain, you are the whole. And now, as we move deeper into this understanding, I want to take you into that final flowering, the ultimate state, the moment when you stop chasing joy and realize that you are joy, when you stop seeking peace and see that peace has been your nature all along. It was your substrate. Let's enter that space together, a space where life becomes celebration, where despair has dissolved into dance, where there is nothing left to fix, only something left to live. If you are ready to make that shift from fixing to living, from thinking to dancing, then stay with me. We are approaching the climax of this journey. We are approaching the point of no return in the best possible way. If you feel this dance starting within you, if you feel the rhythm of this new life taking over, don't just watch, participate. Support the channel with a join or a super thanks if your heart feels the call. It is a way of saying yes to the dance. Now let us drop the last vestiges of the old. Let us step into the temple of pure celebration. Now, something begins to happen that words can barely touch, but we must try to touch it with words, to use words as fingers pointing at the moon. When all your efforts to fix life have fallen away, when you have stopped searching and simply started breathing, A quiet joy begins to rise from a place inside you that you never knew existed. It is not the joy that depends on anything. It does not depend on success. You can be a failure in the eyes of the world and still be filled with it. It does not depend on love from another. You can be alone in a cave and be overflowing with it. It does not even depend on meaning. It is a joy without cause, and because it has no cause, it cannot be taken away. If your joy comes from a car, the car can be stolen and your joy is stolen. If your joy comes from a person, the person can die or leave, and your joy leaves. That is not joy, that is merely pleasure. Pleasure is fragile. It is a glass that breaks at the slightest touch. But this is like discovering that the sun was always shining above the clouds. You are simply living under too much weather. You are living in the climate of your mind, thunder, rain, fog. But the sun does not care about the weather. It shines. It is its nature to shine. This joy doesn't shout. It is not hysterical. It hums. It doesn't dance loudly with drums. It moves like a soft pulse beneath everything. It is a subtle vibration. You have to be very quiet to hear it, but once you hear it, it becomes the background music of your life. And when it comes, you realize something extraordinary. You realize that you never lost life. You never lost your joy. You only lost your way into it. The joy was never gone. It was waiting for you while you were busy being miserable. You were lost in the labyrinth of your own thoughts, analyzing, judging, dissecting. You were so busy dissecting the flower that you forgot to smell it. And now you've stepped outside the labyrinth. You have stepped barefoot into the simple grass of existence. To live in this state is to see the sacred in everything. The word sacred has been misused by religions. They say the temple is sacred, the church is sacred, the scripture is sacred. I say to you, life is sacred. You begin to notice how even pain has its own fragrance. This is a very deep realization. Before you ran from pain, now you taste it. You see that pain has a cleansing power. It has a sharpness that wakes you up. You notice how even sadness has a strange sweetness. Have you ever sat with your sadness totally alone without trying to change it? It gives you depth. A man who has never been sad is shallow. His laughter sounds tinny. It has no belly. But a man who has known sadness, his laughter has resonance. It comes from the deep roots. You notice how even silence feels like music. You realize that life was never divided between joy and sorrow. That division was made by the mind. The mind creates dualities: good, bad, happy, sad, success, failure. But existence is non-dual. It was always one continuous stream, changing colors, shifting forms, flowing from one experience to another. The river is the same whether it flows through a forest or a desert. It is the same water. The only thing that kept you from seeing its beauty was your constant demand that it should be different. I want the forest. I don't want the desert. That demand blinded you to the beauty of the desert. The desert has its own silence, its own stars, its own vastness. But now there is no demand. You no longer ask life to be something. You let it be. This is the greatest prayer. Let it be. Not as a resignation, but as a celebration. You no longer chase happiness. You allow happiness to arise naturally when the mind is still. This is not the happiness of possession. It's the happiness of presence. You could lose everything tomorrow. The economy could collapse. Your house could burn down. And yet, this joy would remain untouched because it doesn't belong to what you have. It belongs to what you are. When you live in awareness, even small things start to shine. The world becomes psychedelic without any drugs. Awareness is the ultimate drug. You take a sip of water and it feels divine. Have you ever really tasted water? Usually, you drink it mechanically while thinking about your business. But now, the coolness of the water on your tongue, the feeling of it going down your throat, it becomes a meditation. It feels like nectar. You walk barefoot on the earth and it feels like prayer. You don't need to go to Mecca or Jerusalem. The earth beneath your feet is holy ground. Every step is a kiss to the earth. You listen to the sound of rain, and it feels like the whole universe is speaking to you in its own gentle language. It is a dialogue between you and the cosmos. This is the joy of being alive, not the excitement of doing, but the serenity of being. Excitement burns bright but fades quickly. It leaves behind ashes. A night of excitement is followed by a morning of depression. That is the law. But joy glows quietly and stays. It's a still flame that doesn't flicker even when the winds of life blow strong. It is the light of the witness. Do you see how everything you once resisted now becomes your teacher? The same pain that made you want to die becomes the doorway through which you learn to live. The wound becomes the womb. The same silence that once frightened you because it felt like loneliness now feels like home. You seek it out, you cherish it. You no longer ask, "Why me?" That is the question of the victim. Why did this happen to me? Instead, you bow down in gratitude because you see that everything that happened, every heartbreak, every fall, every tear, every betrayal, was life's way of polishing you. You were a rough stone. Life put you in the tumbler. It shook you, it bruised you, it hit you against other stones, not to destroy you, but to make you a diamond, to prepare you to reflect its light more clearly. When you stop labeling experiences as good or bad, life stops feeling like a punishment and begins to feel like a dance. There is no bitterness left in you, only gratitude. Gratitude not for what happened, that is secondary, but gratitude for the fact that you can now see through it. You can see the lesson, you can see the grace. This joy is not something you reach at the end of a journey. It is not a destination on a map. One day I will arrive at Joy Station. No, it is what was waiting for you in the beginning. It is your origin. But you couldn't see it through the fog of your own resistance. It's like discovering that the treasure you were searching for, traveling all over the world, was buried in your own garden, right under the spot where you were crying every night. You had to wander the world and lose hope before you were quiet enough to dig. You had to exhaust your seeking to find the finder. And now, as you touch that treasure, you realize that joy was never an emotion at all. We misuse the word. We think joy is just big happiness. No, it was a way of being. It was a frequency. It was the natural fragrance of a life lived in awareness. When you are aware, you don't have to choose between pain and pleasure. This is the mistake of the ascetic. The ascetic tries to choose pain. The hedonist tries to choose pleasure. Both are choosers, so both remain in bondage. You can hold both in your open hands. You can be spacious enough to contain both. You don't cling to pleasure. You say, "Hello, stay as long as you like." You don't run from pain. You say, "Hello, teach me what you have come to teach." You simply stay still, watching the waves rise and fall. knowing that you are the ocean beneath them. The ocean is not afraid of the waves. The ocean is the waves, and yet it is deeper than them. There's a beautiful old saying, the flute plays only when it is empty. And that's the secret. That is the whole secret of mysticism. When you are full of yourself, full of your ego, your plans, your arrogance, your knowledge, existence cannot play music through you. You are blocked. You are a solid stick, not a flute. The air cannot pass through. But when you are empty of resistance, when you are hollowed out by surrender, when despair has scooped you out and left you clean, life itself begins to play through you. The music doesn't belong to you. You are only the instrument, but what an honor to be the instrument. The divine breath moves through your emptiness and creates melody. You don't decide what song it will play. That was your old problem. You wanted to be the composer. You wanted to write the script of your life. I want a happy song, major key, fast tempo. And life wanted to play a blues or a requiem or a silence. Now you don't need to decide. You just stay open. You say, play whatever you wish. Your song is better than my song. And as you do, life begins to play its song through your every breath, your every look, your every gesture. You become music without effort. You become grace without striving. You become love without reason. That's why the enlightened ones are so light. Have you noticed the statues of the Buddha? He is sitting, but he is not heavy. He looks weightless. Or the laughing Buddha, he is big, he has a belly, but he looks like he could float away like a balloon. They laugh easily, they cry easily, they are fluid. They move like wind and speak like silence. They are not serious, because seriousness belongs to the ego. Seriousness is a disease. The ego takes itself so seriously. I am important. My problems are important. My suffering is monumental. It's the weight of the one who still believes he's in charge. The manager is always serious. The boss is always worried. But awareness has no weight. Awareness is playfulness. When you live from awareness, you can cry one moment and laugh the next, because you're no longer identified with either. You are fluid. You are like a child. A child can cry over a broken toy, and 2 minutes later he is laughing at a butterfly. He carries no residue. But you, if you cry, you carry it for a week. You make a monument out of it. And if you laugh, you feel guilty. How can I laugh when life is so serious? I say to you, life is not serious. Life is sincere but not serious. It is a cosmic joke. If you can see the joke, you are free. You are the watcher, the space in which all emotions come and go. This freedom is the greatest joy. There is the joy of not being trapped inside your own story. You can step out of the drama. You can look at your life like a movie. It is a very dramatic movie. Yes, lots of tragedy, lots of suspense, but it is just a movie on the screen of consciousness. You are the screen. The fire on the screen does not burn the screen. The blood on the screen does not stain the screen. So when I say the joy of being alive, I'm not talking about a peak experience, a rare high that you chase and lose. I am not talking about the adrenaline of skydiving or the dopamine of winning the lottery. I'm talking about a deep, abiding peace that moves beneath all experiences. It is the plateau, not the peak. The peak is pointy. You cannot live there. You have to come down. The plateau is flat, vast. You can build your house there. It's the understanding that nothing in existence is against you. Not the storm, not the silence, not even death. Because once you face death within yourself, the death of the ego, the death of the past, you realize it never existed. Only forms die. The wave dies, but the water remains. The leaf dies, but the tree remains. The body dies, but the consciousness remains. Life itself cannot die. It is energy. Energy can transform, but it cannot be destroyed. You've seen through the illusion of endings, and now you live in the eternal present. The now is the only thing that doesn't die. Yesterday is dead. Tomorrow is unborn. Only now is alive. That is joy, not an emotion, but a state of being. And in this awareness, a great compassion arises. This is the flower that comes after the roots have gone deep. You begin to see that everyone you meet is struggling. You look at the rude shopkeeper, the angry driver, the jealous friend. Before, you would react. You would get angry. You would fight. Now you see the truth. Each one is trapped in their own mind. In the same illusions you once believed, they are fighting shadows. They are running from ghosts. You don't judge them anymore. How can you judge a man who is asleep? If a man is sleepwalking and he bumps into you, do you get angry? No. You gently guide him. You protect him. You don't try to fix them or preach to them. Preaching is violence. Trying to change people is aggression. You simply love them silently. You radiate your being. From that space of understanding, your very presence becomes healing. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to become a healer or a therapist. But those who come near you begin to feel lighter. They don't know why. They just feel good around you. They feel a coolness. They feel that their noise subsides in your silence, calmer, more alive. Because awareness is contagious. Just as panic is contagious, peace is contagious. Just as disease is contagious, health is contagious, joy is contagious. When one person wakes up, something in the whole world begins to stir. You are not separate. You are part of the collective consciousness. If you heal yourself, you heal a part of humanity. You raise the level of the ocean. This is the miracle of life. This is the only way to change the world. You cannot change it by politics, by revolutions, by wars. You can only change it by changing your own consciousness. Before we move to the final understanding of trust and resurrection, I invite you. If you feel this compassion stirring in your heart, if you want to be part of this contagion of awareness, click the join button. Become a pillar of this temple. Your contribution helps us reach those who are still lost in the dark. And if you feel a sudden overflow of gratitude, super thanks is there as a vessel for your offering. When lived in surrender, nothing extraordinary happens. You still chop wood, you still carry water, yet everything becomes extraordinary. The wood chopping becomes a dance. The water carrying becomes a prayer. Every act becomes meditation. Walking is Zen. Eating is a sacrament. Every breath becomes worship. You are no longer surviving. Survival is a struggle. You are celebrating. You're not dragging yourself through the days anymore, looking at the calendar, waiting for the weekend, waiting for the vacation, waiting for retirement. That is how slaves live. You are dancing through the days. Monday is as beautiful as Sunday. Work is as beautiful as rest. This is what it means to have gone through despair and come out the other side. You have passed through the fire and come out as gold. You no longer fear life because you no longer cling to it. You hold it loosely. You have nothing to protect. The fortresses are gone. The walls are down. You are vulnerable, and in that vulnerability is your invincibility. Nothing to prove. You are content to be a nobody. And to be a nobody is the greatest freedom in the world. Nothing to lose. You are free. And when this freedom ripens in you, when joy is no longer something you feel occasionally, but something you are continuously, you realize that you were never broken to begin with. You were only covered by dust, the dust of thought, the dust of culture, the dust of fear, of desire. Now that the dust has settled, your true face shines again, the face you had before you were born, the face you will have after you die, and it is radiant, it is infinite, it is love itself. When you feel you have reached the end, you are standing at the doorway of the beginning. Despair only visits when all your borrowed meanings have fallen apart. It comes to burn away what is so that the real can be seen. You call it hopelessness. I call it purification. You have been carrying so many beliefs about how life should be. The shoulds are the heavy stones. I should be successful. I should be married. I should be happy. Love should look like this. Happiness should behave like that. And life in its compassion, not in its cruelty, but in its infinite compassion, begins to tear those illusions apart. It smashes your shoulds against the rocks of reality. It hurts, yes. I do not deny the pain. Surgery hurts. But would you rather keep the cancer? Because the mind identifies even with its cages. The bird has lived in the cage so long that it thinks the cage is its body. When you break the cage, the bird trembles. It feels naked. But in that nakedness, for the first time, you are true, you are authentic. So don't be in a hurry to escape your despair. Don't rush to the therapist to fix it. Don't rush to the priest to console it. Sit with it. Have tea with your despair. Make friends with it. Let it speak. Let it show you what you have been avoiding. It is showing you where you are still clinging. It is showing you where you are still fake. Because despair is not darkness. It is a very bright light, but your eyes are not used to it. So it looks like darkness to you. It is a doorway through which light enters after all the false lights, the neon lights of society, have been extinguished. When everything you depended upon collapses, you have no choice but to face yourself. You can no longer hide behind your job, your wife, your husband, your money. They are gone, or they have lost their meaning. And in that moment, when there is nowhere else to go, no exit, no escape, you begin to see what has always been here. Awareness itself, the simple fact that I am. People come to me saying, "Oh, Osho, I want to die. There is nothing left worth living for." And I tell them, good, let that which was false in you die. Speed up the process, help it die. Let the false self die. Let the false hopes die. Let the false ambitions, the desire to be famous, the desire to be rich, the desire to be powerful, let them die. They are rubbish. Let the false identities die. I am a doctor, I am a mother, I am a victim. Let them all burn, because when that death happens, when the fire has consumed everything that can be consumed, you will discover something indestructible within you, something that fire cannot burn, something that swords cannot cut, something that water cannot drown, something that no despair can touch. The diamond, the soul, the witness. When you are ready to die, you are also ready to be reborn. You cannot be reborn if you are holding on to the old life with one hand. You must let go with both hands. It is not the end of life that you seek. It is the end of suffering. But suffering can only end when the one who suffers dissolves. The me is the suffering. There is no such thing as a happy ego. The ego is misery. Every crisis in life is an invitation from existence to awaken. A crisis is not a curse, it is a wake-up call. The alarm clock is ringing. It is loud, it is annoying, but it is trying to wake you up from a nightmare. When you lose everything, when the floor of your old world disappears beneath you, existence is whispering, "Now, will you trust me? Now that your plans have failed, will you try my plan? The mind screams, no, I must rebuild, I must get back what I lost, I must control. But control is exactly what brought the misery. Control is the architect of your hell. Control is the prison of the ego. Life cannot be controlled. It is too big, it is too wild, it can only be lived, it can only be tasted. And the beauty of life reveals itself only to those who stop demanding from it. Look at a child, how easily they move from laughter to tears, from excitement to silence. They have no fixed identity to protect. They don't say, I am a serious person, I cannot giggle. They don't say, I am a happy child, I cannot cry. So they are fluid. Their despair never becomes permanent. Their joy never becomes possession. They live as waves on the ocean of life, but you have been trying to freeze the wave. You want the wave to stay at its peak forever. You want the honeymoon to last forever. You want the youth to last forever. You are trying to freeze the ocean, and that is why it hurts when it breaks. Because ice breaks, water flows. Everything that begins must end. That is the law of form. Forms appear and disappear, but you are not the beginning or the end. You are the ocean itself. You are the space in which the forms dance. When you sit quietly, when you stop fighting the despair, a strange thing begins to happen. You start feeling alive again. But it is a different kind of aliveness, not with excitement, not with desire, but with simple presence. The body breathes, the heart beats, sensations move through you like wind through trees. You realize that life never abandoned you. You were shouting, God has forsaken me, while God was pumping your blood. You had only abandoned life by living in your mind. You were living in a mental projection, a cinema, and you left the real world. You were busy chasing meanings while life itself was waiting in the silence of this very moment. Despair is not against life, it is against the mind. The mind wants certainty. It wants a guarantee. Sign the contract, tell me I will be safe. Life gives only mystery. It gives no guarantees. It gives danger. It gives adventure. The mind wants perfection. Everything must be in its place. Life gives only wholeness, and wholeness includes the mud and the lotus. The mind wants control. I am the master. Life gives only participation. Come, dance with me. When you accept this, when you stop arguing with existence, despair begins to dissolve on its own. Because despair was never the absence of hope. It was the absence of acceptance. Let your despair be total. Don't be half-hearted. If you are going to be in despair, be fully in despair. Don't look for a window. Go into the dark room and close the door. Don't run to friends for comfort. They will only give you false comfort. They will say, don't worry, it will get better. That is not helping. That is putting a band-aid on a soul wound. Don't rush to distractions. Sit silently and look into it. Look into the face of your pain. It will burn, it will cut, it will strip you naked. But if you can stay present, if you can stay as a witness, you will see that beneath the ashes there is a quiet, gentle light, your own awareness, untouched, pristine, virgin. That awareness is not hopeful. It doesn't need to be. Hope is for the poor. The awareness is rich. It simply is. It watches death and birth, joy and sorrow, night and day all passing through. And because it is watching, it is free. Once you know that freedom, once you touch that awareness even for a moment, you can never be the same again. You have tasted the nectar. Now the plastic fruits of the world will not satisfy you. Despair will come and go. I do not promise you a life without pain. Life includes pain, but it will no longer own you. It will no longer define you. You will see it like clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness. Sometimes dark clouds, sometimes white clouds. And the sky does not fear the storm, it welcomes it, because it knows that after the storm, the air will be clearer, the light more golden. Understand this: despair is not your enemy. It is life's way of clearing the ground so that new seeds can be planted. But you keep holding on to the old dreams, old loves, old identities. You keep watering the dead tree, hoping it will bloom again. You are watering a stump. That is why pain remains. Pain is your resistance to the death of the old. When you let go completely, when you allow yourself to fall into the unknown. And this is the scariest thing for the mind, the unknown. The mind clings to the known, even if the known is miserable. You prefer a known hell to an unknown heaven. But when you fall, you will discover that life has wings waiting for you. But you cannot fly while clinging to the ground. You cannot fly while holding on to the branch. When you reach that point where you whisper, "I can't go on," don't move backward. Don't turn away. Fall forward. Fall into the emptiness. Fall into the silence. Fall into the unknown. Because it is only when you fall that you learn that you are never falling at all. You are being carried. Existence has never stopped holding you, not for a single breath. You may have turned your back on life, but life never turned its back on you. It is unconditional. It shines on the sinner and the saint alike. Even now, your heart beats on its own. Your lungs draw breath. The earth keeps turning. This is grace. The very fact that you can feel despair means that consciousness is still alive in you. A dead man does not feel despair. A machine does not feel despair. Despair proves that there is something in you that cannot be satisfied by falsehood. It is a compliment to your soul. It proves that somewhere within, the real you still longs for truth. That longing is sacred. Honor it. So when despair comes, don't call it the end. Call it cleansing. Don't call it death. Call it rebirth. Because the one who emerges from despair is no longer the same as the one who entered it. Something old has died. Something eternal has begun to live. Out of hopelessness is born the most beautiful hope. Not the hope of the mind which depends on future outcomes. I hope I win the lottery. But the hope of being which simply trusts the unfolding of life. When the inner death has happened, when the old you, the one built on expectations and memories, has burned away, something very quiet remains. It is not excitement, it is not a new dream taking the place of the old one. It is silence, simple and vast. At first it feels strange because you were so accustomed to noise. You miss the noise, you miss the drama, the noise of wanting, of fearing, of striving. You mistake silence for emptiness. But as you stay in it, the silence begins to pulse with a subtle warmth, a quiet aliveness. You realize that the silence is not dead. It is alive in a way that words cannot describe. It is pregnant with potential. That silence is your real self. This is the space from which life truly begins. You are no longer trying to direct the river. You are flowing with it. You wake up in the morning and you do not carry yesterday with you. You don't plan your happiness. You discover it like sunlight filtering through the leaves. It surprises you. You don't have goals anymore. Goals are for the future. You have direction, but no destination. But life moves through you with its own intelligence. There is an order in it, a rhythm that you could never have designed. The mind is a clumsy planner. Existence is the master planner. Everything begins to fit in a mysterious way. The right people appear. The right situations arise. Not because you are managing it, but because you have stopped interfering. You have gotten out of the way. It is in this letting go that a new kind of strength arises. the strength of vulnerability. Before, you thought strength meant control, holding yourself together against the chaos of the world. I must be like a rock. But now you see that life is not chaotic. Your resistance was chaotic. Strength is not the ability to dominate. It is the courage to surrender. It takes a lion's heart to surrender. A coward cannot surrender. He fights. It is the willingness to trust the unknown, to say yes to what comes and yes to what goes. This strength has no armor. It is soft. It is like water, and because it is soft, nothing can break it. You can hit water with a hammer, you cannot break it, but you can break a rock. When you live from this space, despair turns into compassion. You see others struggling in the same storm that once consumed you. And now we approach the final realization, the ultimate trust. What happens when you stop hoping for a better future and start trusting the present moment completely? What happens when hope dies and trust is born? This is the resurrection. Let us walk into this final dawn together. You see, hope is a beggar. Hope stands at the door of the future with a begging bowl, asking for something better. Please make tomorrow better than today. Please give me what I don't have. Hope implies that the present moment is not enough. It implies a lack. It is a subtle rejection of God, of existence. But trust is a king. Trust sits on the throne of the now. Trust does not beg. It acknowledges. It says, everything is perfect as it is. Hope is fragile. It can be shattered by a single disappointment. If you hope for sun and it rains, you are crushed. Trust is unshakable. If you trust and it rains, you say, the existence wants rain. The trees need water. Good. If the sun shines, you say, the existence wants light. Good. Trust has no preference. And because it has no preference, it has no suffering. Hope says, things will be better one day. It is a postponement. It is a drug to numb the pain of today. Trust says everything is perfect now, even the pain, even the chaos. It sees the hidden order, and with that trust, a deep relaxation enters your being. This is the ultimate relaxation. You don't have to hold the world together. You don't have to push the river. You no longer chase life. You let life dance through you. The weight of me disappears. That me was just a bundle of anxieties, a collection of hopes and fears, and in its place there is only a quiet presence, aware, content, complete. You begin to interact with the world differently. You speak less, but you say more. Your words come from silence, not from noise. Before, you spoke to cover up the silence. Now, you speak to share the silence. You do less, but you achieve more. Because your actions come from clarity, not confusion. You don't waste energy in indecision. When you move totally. When you sit totally. You are no longer divided against yourself. You are no longer torn between should and should not, good and bad. Those civil wars are over. Your life becomes simple, almost effortless. You eat when you are hungry. You rest when you are tired. You smile when joy arises. You cry when sadness comes. There is no longer an actor performing for an audience. There is no longer a politician trying to win votes. There is only life expressing itself through a hollow bamboo. And in that simplicity, gratitude flowers. Not gratitude for something in particular that is business. You gave me money, so I thank you. That is a transaction. I am talking about gratitude for everything and for nothing, gratitude for being itself. You bow to existence without words because you see that it has never abandoned you. Even in your darkest night, when you were crying into your pillow, when you were planning your own death, existence was guiding you. It was guiding you through the despair. It was using the despair to burn away your ego. It was guiding you through the surrender. It was guiding you through the death of the false back into itself. What you thought was punishment was purification. Existence loves you too much to let you remain asleep. It will shake you. It will take away your toys. It will break your heart. Whatever it takes to wake you up. What you called failure was the shedding of what was false. What you feared as death was the opening of your real life. This is what it means to be reborn. Not to become someone better or happier or richer. That is just decorating the prison cell. But to see through the illusion of being someone at all. The rebirth is not of the ego. The ego cannot be reborn. It can only die. The rebirth is of awareness. It doesn't give you a new identity. It frees you from identity itself. You move through the world like a breeze, touching everything, clinging to nothing. The breeze passes over the flower, enjoys the fragrance, and moves on. It doesn't stop to possess the flower. It passes over the garbage. It doesn't judge it and moves on. Wherever you go, life flows with you because you and life are no longer two. In this rebirth, even death loses its meaning. You don't think about it anymore. You simply understand it as part of the same flow. Just as day gives itself to night, just as the river gives itself to the ocean, life gives itself to death, and both belong to the same whole. Existence contains both. Knowing this, you can live completely because you are not afraid anymore. Fear is the only thing that stops you from living. You can laugh without reason. You have become a child again. A child doesn't need a joke to laugh. He laughs because he is alive. You can cry without shame. You realize that tears are just liquid prayer. They are a way to melt. You can love without fear. You don't fear rejection because you are not begging for love. You are overflowing with it. If someone takes it, good. If no one takes it, it still flows. The flower is fragrant whether someone passes by or not. Life becomes total every moment, a beginning and an ending, every breath, a small birth and death. This is what I call liberation. It is not escape to the Himalayas. It is not running away from the marketplace. It is complete participation. You are in the world but not of it. You are in the marketplace, but the marketplace is not in you. You are finally free to live because you are free to die. When you finally reach this place within yourself, and you will reach it if you keep walking, if you keep trusting, where despair has turned to understanding and the noise of struggle has fallen silent, you discover that life is no longer a problem to be solved. For millions of lives, you have treated life as a mathematical problem. If I do this, I will get that. What is the solution to happiness? It is a mystery to be lived. A mystery cannot be solved. It can only be experienced. You can drink it, you can breathe it, but you cannot solve it. The search for meaning fades away because existence itself becomes the meaning. You stop asking why and begin to whisper yes. Every moment becomes a blessing, not because it fulfills your desires, often it will not, but because it reveals that there was never anything missing. You see that you were never broken. You were only asleep. You were having a nightmare that you were broken. You were never lost. You were only dreaming of separation. Now even the word hope feels small. It feels like a toy for children. You don't live on hope anymore. You live in trust. Hope belongs to the future. It is a promissory note. Trust belongs to this moment. It is cash in hand. Hope is fragile. Trust is unshakable. Hope says, things will be better one day. Trust says, Everything is perfect now. And with that trust, you begin to understand what all the awakened ones have been trying to say. From Buddha to Jesus, from Lao Tzu to Krishna, they were all saying one thing, that the one who was ready to give up on life was the same one who was standing in the way of life. The you that wanted to die was the obstacle. The death you feared was not the end. It was the beginning. The darkness you ran from was not punishment. It was the dark room where the film of your soul was being developed. It was preparation for light. You fall into life again, but this time without resistance, without judgment, without condition. You breathe deeply, and the breath itself feels like prayer. You don't need to recite scriptures. Your breathing is the scripture. You walk, and every step feels like a blessing. You kiss the earth with your feet. You sit in silence and realize that the silence is not empty. It is full, overflowing, infinite. This is what it means to be reborn. Not to start over as someone new, that is just changing the mask, but to awaken as what you have always been. The clouds of despair dissolve, the clouds of depression dissolve, the clouds of anxiety dissolve, and the sky that was hidden behind them was always there, untouched, eternal, blue. You are that sky. You are not the clouds. Clouds come and go. Despair comes and goes. Joy comes and goes. But the sky remains. You are that space in which all things come and go, but you remain witnessing, radiant, vast. Nothing can touch you now because you have found the center that never began and will never end, the center that is beyond time. So, my friend, if you ever feel again that you want to give up on life, pause. Remember this moment. Remember this understanding. What you truly want to give up is not life itself. Life is beautiful. Life is godliness. What you want to give up is the false way you were living it. You want to give up the struggle. You want to give up the mask. You want to give up the ego. So do it. Give it up. Let it die. You don't need to kill your body to be free. Suicide is foolishness. It solves nothing. You will just be born again with the same mind, the same problems. You only need to awaken. Let despair come. Don't push it away. Welcome it as a guest. Let it burn away the false. Then from the ashes rise. Rise not as who you were. That person is gone, but as what you are. Pure awareness, pure love, pure life. This is the resurrection that no religion can promise you in the afterlife. They promise you heaven after you die because they want to control you while you are alive. I promise you heaven now. It happens only in the silence of your own heart. It happens when you stop fighting. And once it happens, you will never ask again for a reason to live. Because life itself will have become your reason. The dance itself is the reason for the dance. You will become a light unto yourself. And when you are a light, you do not need a map. You do not need to ask, where should I go? The light shows the way. You will live in a constant state of wonder. This is my message to you. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Enter it. It is the tunnel to the light. Do not be afraid of the death of the ego. It is the beginning of your real life. Celebrate the death of the false. And if you have heard me today, if these words have penetrated your heart, then the transformation has already begun. The seed has been planted. Now you just need to water it with silence, with trust, with awareness. Before we part, I want to invite you to deepen this journey. If you feel that this message is what the world needs, and look around, the world is suffering, the world is in despair, then help us spread it. Click the join button. Become a part of this rebellion, a rebellion against sorrow, against sleep. Your support allows us to reach more souls who are standing on the edge. If you feel a sense of abundance, share it through super thanks, not as a donation, but as an energetic declaration that you value truth. And do not forget the ebooks. They are silent friends. They are there when the noise of the world gets too loud. They will remind you of who you are. Subscribe to the channel. But don't just subscribe to a channel. Subscribe to your own awakening. Make a commitment to yourself. Share this video. Send it to the friend who is hurting. Send it to the one who is lost. You might save a life, not just a physical life, but a spiritual life. Leave a comment below. Share your silence. Share your breakthrough. Let others know they are not alone in the dark. Remember, you are not the wave. You are the ocean. You are not the desperate one. You are the witness of despair. You are the vast, infinite sky. Wake up.